Good. Let me kick off. Welcome everybody to this virtual information event about the programs that we offer at the University of Southampton in the area of aging and gerontology. Dalia, could you show the next slide, please? So just a few introductions. My name is Elizabeth Schröder-Butterfill. I'm an associate professor in gerontology and I'm the head of department of gerontology. With me on the call today are Dr. Rosalind Willis, who's also an associate professor in gerontology and our head of teaching programs, and Dr. Dalia Tsimpida, who's a lecturer in gerontology and our employability tutor, exams officer, and GSA faculty lead. Ros and Dalia will be speaking to you in a minute. And then there's we're part of a obviously larger team, including professors and lecturers and associate professors. We welcome you on behalf of them as well. Next slide, Dalia. So what we're hoping to do today is kind of introduce you to the subject of gerontology, because it might not be that familiar to everybody. And then we'll give you an introduction about the course content of the various programs that we run in the gerontology department, and tell you more about what it's like to study at Southampton, whether that's via distance learning or on campus. We'll tell you something about the study support that we provide here that we're very proud of, and tell you a little bit about what our alumni go on to do after studying gerontology or global aging with us. We'll introduce you to the kind of community that students become part of when they join the university, and then a few practical details about how to apply, and fees and scholarships and things like that. Okay, next slide. Thank you, Talia. So what is gerontology or global aging? Gerontology is the scientific study of aging from social, economical, psychological and cultural dimensions. So it's not a medical discipline, that's the geriatrics, but it's more located within the social sciences, although we're also interested in aspects of health, as will become clear in a minute. If you're a gerontologist, you might be more interested in sort of individual level changes as people grow older, or you might be interested in sort of societal level changes and adaptations that families, communities, societies, economies have to undergo in order to adjust to the growing size of the older population and the sort of general shift towards a more mature population, where maybe the median age is more like 40, 43 rather than younger. Typically, gerontology has a very strong policy focus. So we tend to be interested in how the research and the insights that we can gain by studying gerontology, how that can then be translated in order to inform pension systems, or how to improve health systems, how to target care provision, what technological changes might be needed, what provision needs to be made for housing or long-term care. As you can guess, it's a very interdisciplinary field of study. So actually very few people study gerontology at their undergraduate level, but typically people come into gerontology from a variety of different fields. So they might have a background in economics, demography, social policy, psychology, sociology, business studies, marketing, design. I mean, there really isn't a limit to kind of the kinds of backgrounds that people have. But what kind of draws them into gerontology or global aging is the sort of interest in the older population, or the kind of general aging of societies. Aging is a truly global phenomenon. I mean, it's been described as one of the most significant global transformations of the 21st century, and I'm inclined to agree, because all societies are participating in this shift towards a much older population, and that has implications at every level of society, whether it's families or businesses or purchasing behavior, economic behavior, voting. All of this is shaped by the age structure of a population. Next, please, Dalia. So here's just some examples of the kinds of questions that we as gerontologists are interested in. So how can long-term care be shared between families, communities, the market, and the state? My research, for example, tends to be mainly on Indonesia, where the kind of emphasis is very much on families to be providing care for older members, but that's often not sustainable because families are becoming smaller, women are participating in the labor market, there's a lot of migration. So how can communities get involved? What options are there for private market-based providers of care? What role should the state have in all of this? That's just one example. What behaviors over the life course contribute to healthy aging? Because increasingly we realize that a lot of the determinants of health in later life start really early in life. So we need to kind of develop information and interventions that start when people are still quite young, in order to encourage them to prepare for healthy aging. How can marketing, housing, technology, and service provision best target and support the growing older population? And then we're often interested in inequalities, because the older population is incredibly heterogeneous. So there's a lot of variation in the older population, and there will always be some groups within the older population who are suffering from poor health or poor socioeconomic resources. And so we're often interested in trying to kind of address these inequalities and reduce inequalities in later life. And so by seeking a qualification in gerontology, you get the sort of skills, the tools, the understanding to develop creative, well-informed solutions to some of these kinds of questions. Now, why might you want to study gerontology or aging at Southampton? Well, I think there's lots of good reasons for this. So for a start, we are the only gerontology department in the UK. There are some gerontology departments in North America, but not in the UK. Our teaching is really research-led. We're at a Russell Group university, which means we're at a kind of university that puts a lot of emphasis on the importance of research, and so all teaching staff are actively involved in conducting research. In our case, we're all kind of embedded in the Centre for Research on Aging, which has a kind of global reputation as a leading research institution for aging and gerontology. And so that means that the teaching that we deliver for our students is very much kind of informed by our cutting edge and very up-to-date research that we do. So because we're kind of ourselves as lecturers and professors involved in international and interdisciplinary research, we can sort of pass those insights on to our students. If you study gerontology with us, you get a mix of discipline-specific training, so you get training on kind of health aspects, social aspects, policy aspects to do with later life and aging, but you also get skills in research methods and data analysis. So those are some key transferable skills that you get from us. As you'll see in a moment, we use a variety of assessment forms, and again, these different types of assignments that you get to do would build up your transferable skills. And then finally, we have kind of strong links with charities and stakeholders in the area of aging. So Age UK, Help Age International, Department of Work and Pensions, the World Health Organizations. So again, that partly kind of feeds into our teaching, but also provides opportunities for our students to network if they wish. So I'm now going to hand over to Rosalind Willis, and she'll tell you a bit more about our programs. Thank you, Ros.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So I'm going to give you a bit more of an outline of what our programs look like. I'll start with our master's programs. The abbreviation PGT means postgraduate taught. That's just to distinguish it from postgraduate research programs, which is the PhD, which I'll come on to a bit later. So we have 3 master's programs. One of them is the Master's in Gerontology, which you can do here at Southampton in person. But we also offer an equivalent program, Master's in Gerontology Distance Learning, which you can do online. It's an entirely online program. And our 3rd program is the Master's in Global Ageing and Policy, which is only available distance learning. Any of these programs you can do either full-time or part-time. If you do it full-time, then that's a 12-month program. You start in September and then you finish in September the following year. If it's part-time, it takes longer than that. So you have 2 full academic years and then an extra 3 months to complete your dissertation. So that's 27 months overall. Next slide, please. So this slide tells you what the different modules are on the Masters in Gerontology program, whether it's on campus or distance learning. So the ones with little asterisks or stars next to them are compulsory modules. Everybody will take those. There's Perspectives in Gerontology, which is the introduction. Researching Aging Societies, which focuses in on topics on how to do research with older people and populations. And then we have 2 qualitative research methods modules, which will train you up from first principles in how to do qualitative research. And then many students then go on to do that for their dissertation. Then we have a whole wealth of optional modules that you may wish to choose from. You'll notice some of them are distance learning only, some of them are on campus only. But they include demographic change, aging and globalization, mental health and aging, quantitative research methods, my module on aging in Africa, a module on aging in China, and then you may choose several methodological modules like mixed methods or survey design or applied statistical modeling. After you've done your dissertation, after you've done the taught modules, you will then have time to do your dissertation. So this is an independent project that you will do with supervision. It's on a topic that you choose. And if you're a full-time student, you do that between June and September. If you're a part-time student, you will do it in the following year between June and December. Next slide, please. So this shows you the other program, which is the Masters in Global Aging and Policy. This is only available by distance learning. This has some distinctive modules that you can only do on this program, which are Global Perspectives in Gerontology and Policy Evaluation for Aging Societies. And then you can choose to specialize in various topics. You may want to focus in on certain regions of the world, like aging in Africa or aging in China, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. You've also got the choices to do the qualitative research methods, and you can do quantitative research methods as well. And then you have the other options, such as poverty and social protection around the world and aging, health and well-being. Next slide, please. Many of our dissertation students go on to actually publish their research after they have finished with us. And lots of them are interested in doing this because they want to continue doing research throughout their career. So these are just some examples of published journal articles from our alumni. So that's a really great way of disseminating and hopefully generating impact from research that you do during your program. Next slide, please. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the doctoral programs, PhD programs. So we have 3 distinctive programs here. So there's the PhD in Gerontology. So this one you do physically here in Southampton. You can do it full-time or part-time. If it's full-time, it takes 3 to 4 years. Part-time is 4 to 7 years in length. You can start at different times of the year for the PhD program. So that's different from the Masters. The Masters, you can only start in September, but for the PhD, you could have a December or a January start. If you want to study online, we also have a distance learning PhD program available, which again can be studied full-time or part-time. And again, you can start either in September or January. Now, this is intended for you to stay at home in your home country while studying online, but there is the possibility that you could come and spend some time in Southampton, maybe for an intensive period if there's training courses you want to do or meetings you want to have in person, and you can get a visitor's visa to come and stay for that period of time. The third doctoral program we have is called the Integrated PhD, and that means it's integrating a taught component with a research component. So you would essentially do the modules of the Masters in Gerontology in year 1 of that program. Then you would carry out a transitional project rather than a dissertation, and that transitional project is on the topic of your PhD project, and it helps you transition between the taught phase and the research phase. And then you will have the research phase of the doctoral program. So this program is a bit longer than the standard PhD. It's between 4 and 5 years full-time or 5 to 8 years part-time. And we recommend that for somebody who doesn't already have a grounding in gerontology as a subject or social sciences. What topics could you study for a PhD? Well, you need to think about the research interests of the staff members that we have here, and we are able to supervise on a range of topics. So that includes things like long-term care, informal and community care for older people, things like pension protection, older people's contribution to families, societies, and economies. We're also interested in diversity, so ethnic differences across the life course or inequalities, intergenerational relationships, and things to do with health, like dementia and mental health and well-being in later life. Okay, next slide, please. So this gives you an indication of what it's like to study for a PhD. So essentially, it's one large project that you do independently, but with close supervision from a team of supervisors. And you will meet with those supervisors on a regular basis, so you will be supported throughout the program. The first 3 months, you tend to have a quite intensive focus on induction activities, learning activities. What is it you need to do for the whole PhD and planning everything out? So you'll do tasks like your academic needs analysis, setting out what your learning needs are and when you will fulfill those throughout the program. Every year you will have an annual progression review with some independent assessors, and that's really helpful because you get some input from outside of your supervisory team. So you get like that third party reassurance that the project that you're doing is a good one, that you're on the right track, and they'll give you advice for improving it for the next stage. We also run activities within the gerontology department for PhD students. We have our gerontology forum, and the topics of those activities are generated by the student body. So the things that they want to receive training on or to have activities on are provided. As a PhD student, you actually get time off, you get annual leave. So you get 26 days annual leave as a full-time student. It would be half of that if you're part-time. And then also you have the usual public holidays and the days that the university closes. There's lots of training and activities that are open to you throughout the year, throughout all 3 or 4 years of your program. Funding is provided to attend conferences or training courses outside of the university. And basically, there's just so much going on that you are not ever alone during your PhD study. So even though it's your project that you are working on, you've got this whole community and network of other PhD students, academics, and the wider discipline who will be there to support you. Okay, next slide, please. So this is about what it's like to study for a master's at Southampton. So if you're studying here on the Masters in Gerontology, you will have on-campus study. So that means you will be physically here in Southampton. You will have lectures timetabled. You may have seminars and workshops as well over semester 1 and semester 2. So that's from the end of September to the beginning of January, and then from the end of January to the end of May. Our class sizes are generally between about 10 and 35 students, which makes for a really good atmosphere and environment for sharing and engaging with each other. while also not being so big that you feel like you're lost in a crowd. Now, many of our lessons will be fully in the classroom, but sometimes we have hybrid sessions. So that means we have some pre-recorded lectures for you to listen to in advance, and then you come to the seminar inside the classroom where you get to discuss and engage with the material that you've learned that week. We also provide computer workshops, so you can learn about specialist software like NVivo, for example, for qualitative research methods. And we also provide other sessions like writing skills and presentation skills and so on. And many of these skills are transferable to your future career, not just your studies with us. Next slide, please. So as well as attending your scheduled timetable classes, you will be doing self-study. So that means you will be reading each week topics that you've been asked to focus on by the lecturers. You'll also be working on your assignments. So you'll be searching for and reading literature related to your assignments, carrying out exercises and so on. Now, we have a wealth of resources for you in our library, both physically and online. So much of our library material is also available to you online, so you can access that away from the campus. So if you're in your student hall, for example, or if you're a distance learner, you can just log into the university system, and then you'll have access to books and journal articles and so much more. To study with us for a master's, if you're doing it full-time, we estimate that this will take around about 30 to 40 hours of studying per week over the 12 months. If it's part-time study, it would be half of that, so between 15 to 20 hours per week. So when you're applying to us, consider how you're going to schedule the time for your study. And can you actually fit in 30 to 40 hours for full-time, or does it need to be 15 to 20 hours for part-time? So I have set out the semester schedule, but there are breaks from teaching within that. So you do get time off, you do get time to rest and go home. And then you'll be doing your dissertation after the 2 semesters are over if you're full-time, or after 4 semesters are over if you're part-time. Okay, next slide, please. So if you're doing it by distance learning, your lectures will not be timetabled. It's up to you to plan your time. So this involves a lot of self-motivation and the discipline to say to yourself, right, I'm listening to this lecture today, or I'm reading these books today. Our recorded material is available for you 24/7. So it's up to you to decide when you want to listen to it. You can choose to follow as if you were in the classroom, listening to 1 lecture per week per module. Or you could decide, oh, next week I'm going to focus on my Aging in Africa module and listen to several lectures. That is completely up to you. The only fixed deadlines are assignment deadlines. And also if we have any live tutorials, which we do sometimes offer, where you'll be able to engage with each other and with the lecturers online. Okay, next slide, please. Right, so how do we assess our masters? Well, the good news is we have no exams. It's entirely coursework. We have assignments in each of our modules, and then there is the final dissertation. The dissertation is a 15,000-word document, which sounds huge, but actually once you start writing, you realize that that's not a lot. And you'll be struggling to get it down to 15,000, so don't worry about that length. All of our assignments are individual assignments, so we don't put people into groups for assessments, but we do put people into groups in classrooms for discussions and activities. We have a whole range of assessments, so you get to practice different types of skills and develop different types of skills throughout the program. So we do have some traditional essays, but we might also ask you to do a critical literature review, to do a piece of qualitative research and analyze it, to give an oral presentation to other people, to write a policy briefing, to develop a proposal for a piece of research, to do a demographic country report, or to present some statistical analysis. So you will get lots of different skills from these. And you're not alone in producing your assignments. So one of the intensive activities we provide is to give you feedback on your draft assignments before you submit them. So you will have a personal academic tutor, and that's part of their duties. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, so as I've said, the personal academic tutor is assigned to everyone. So you will all have your PAT, as they are known, whose job it is to help you develop your skills, to give you advice on your program, to give you advice on choices you might like to make, one-to-one advice on your drafts, and pastoral support if it's needed. Our staff members are actually award-winning in the support that we provide and the teaching that we provide. So we have received Vice-Chancellor awards as a whole team and also as individuals, and also Students' Union awards. So the students themselves have nominated us for prizes. And we all hold teaching qualifications from an organisation called Advanced HE, Advanced Higher Education. We do module evaluations. We find out from the students what they think of our teaching. We consistently get very high module evaluation scores, so the students are really, really happy with what we provide. And then beyond just our team, the whole university is structured to provide support to students. So we have student wellbeing services. They're there to help you with health, disability, mental health, any sort of emotional issues that may be going on, or any personal issues that are affecting your studies. There are support services available for you. They are free. They're available around the clock. They are available online and in person. So every student is able to access these. So we can provide lots of support for students with disabilities or mental health challenges or learning differences. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, and another thing that we really focus on that we think is very important at postgraduate level is study skills support. So sometimes people will come to our program after many years working in whatever field they're in. Maybe they're in a healthcare field or a policy field or something completely unrelated, and it's been a long time since they have written an essay or read a book or journal article and been asked to critically engage with it. So we bear that in mind very much when we're delivering our training. So we know that we need to provide study skill support to ease people back in to academic life, and also to help you to work at the postgraduate level, which will be new to most of you. So we do training on critical reading. So how do you read a journal article and come up with strengths and weaknesses of that article? And then how do you write about that? We have training on giving a presentation, training on writing an essay, training on using referencing, which may be new to some of you. And we also provide lots of training on using software and the various databases we have available. Our library has lots and lots of training resources as well, so that can help you with searching for literature and data management. And we give lots and lots of support and advice to you throughout your year of study, if it's master's, or several years of study if it's PhD. So you're never alone. We're always here. We want you to ask questions. We want you to ask for support. And the support that we provide our students is something we are known for, and we know our students definitely welcome it. Okay, I'm going to hand over now to Dalia for the next section.
Great. Thank you very much, Rose. I'm Dr. Dalia Tsimbida, and I'm really delighted to share with you the exciting networking and employability opportunities that are available through our programs. I'm aware that as an employability coordinator, that this aspect is a key aspect that guides your decision to study for a program. So I'm happy to share with you what are the opportunities available studying in our programs. We are especially proud to announce the recent launch of the Gerontological Society of America student chapter here at the University of Southampton. And this is a fantastic initiative that connects our students with a global network of professionals, researchers, and peers who share a passion for aging, healthy aging, and longevity. As the global population continues to age, the need for interdisciplinary collaboration in this field is more important than ever. And as a gerontology student, you will receive free membership to the GSA student chapter, which is a fantastic opportunity because it opens the door to international conferences, mentoring opportunities, research collaborations, and career development resources. This student chapter provides for you a unique platform to grow professionally, build meaningful connections, and make a real impact in a field that touches every part of the society. What truly sets our programs apart is the way we combine real-world relevance with high-quality research-led learning. We focus on equipping our students with a broad set of transferable skills, skills that are valued across a wide range of careers. And this not only makes our graduates highly adaptable, but also helps them stand out in a competitive job market. Whether you have a clear career path in mind or you are still exploring your options, our programs provide both the foundation and the flexibility to help you succeed. We have a tailored career support aligned with your specific discipline and aspirations. And on top of that, you will have access to volunteering opportunities and work experience programs, fantastic ways to gain practical, hands on insights into the field of gerontology and the wider aging sector. Gerontology graduates from our university live with a diverse skill set, opening doors to a wide array of career opportunities. You can see in the slide, you can have a look at some of the common paths our graduates follow. For example, research and analysis. Many of our graduates contribute to both academic and private sector research, exploring critical issues related to aging and health. Another sector is in policy making. Some of our graduates go on to work in government departments, shaping policies and programs that support an aging population. Others join NGO, non-governmental organizations, focusing on advocacy, research, and providing support for older communities. We have also graduates excelling in leadership roles in health and social care, managing health and social care services for older adults. Many pursue careers in social work, providing essential support and services directly to older individuals and their families. Some of our graduates work in product development, designing innovative solutions to meet the needs of an aging population. And finally, our graduates often pursue careers in medical and health related roles, contributing to patient care and therapy. You can see that these diverse career paths highlight the flexibility and the wide reaching relevance of a degree in gerontology. We are really proud of the impact our graduates are making across these fields, and we are excited to see the incredible contributions you can yourself make in the future. In this slide, you can see just a few examples of the incredible career paths our alumni take after completing their studies with us. Some of our graduates become senior practitioner social workers, others specialize as clinical geropsychologists, and some even pursue doctoral research at leading universities. We also see many of our graduates step into impactful roles as government officers, helping shape public policies for aging populations. To give you an example of how far their expertise can reach, one of our recent graduates is now working at the Ministry of Public Health in Thailand, contributing to international health initiatives. Here are some kind words from our alumni who are expressing how grateful they are and how the degree and learning have shaped their personal and professional journey. Disan Ahmed, who graduated with an MSc in Global Aging and Policy in 2020, credits the program for broadening his development sector knowledge and helping him secure a leadership role at the Aga Khan Rural Support Program. Then we have Michael Ebekaku, also from the Master's Global Aging and Policy Program, who came in as a physiotherapist. He shared that by the end of the course, he had gained a deeper understanding of the psychosocial and cultural factors that influence the health of older adults, going beyond the biological and biomedical perspectives he had when he started. And finally, Dr. Rui Nicola, who completed his PhD in gerontology, talks about how the guidance and networking opportunities here during his research journey helped him secure advisory roles with the Portuguese government, specifically focusing on inclusion and disability issues. I'm now handing over to Elizabeth again to explain how to apply for these programs.
Thank you, Dalia. So, yeah, I will spend the last couple of minutes and then you'll have an opportunity to ask some questions via the chat to tell you some of the practical aspects in terms of applying. So, in terms of your background, we accept students with any kind of undergraduate background. So whether that's sociology, demography, economics, business, health, health or health-related social work, nursing, psychology, really anything, anything at all, assuming that you have an interest in learning about aging and aging societies. In terms of the kind of requirements of the degree that you have, it should be the equivalent of a upper second class undergraduate degree. If you don't have that, then it's often still worth inquiring with us, getting in touch, because sometimes we're able to take professional qualifications and expertise into consideration. You need to have good enough English competencies, so we accept students with an IELTS score of 6.5 or higher. We don't really have a deadline, so in theory you can apply right up until September. Our programs, our master's programs start at the end of September, so in theory you can still apply in September. However, if you want to be considered for a scholarship, then you need to apply earlier. So let me say a bit more about the financial aspects. Next slide, Dalia. So here I've put up the fees, the study fees for master's study. UK students pay slightly over £9,000. EU and international students pay around £25,000 for 1 year of study. The details for example, the PhD fees you can find on our university website or send us an email and we can clarify that. At the moment, we've got a few scholarships that are still available for the coming academic year for students wanting to start in September 2025. So we have two Ageing and Gerontology talent scholarships for the master's programs in gerontology or global aging and policy. Those scholarships are worth £5,000 and the closing date for those are the end of this month, 30th of May. If you apply as an international student to do one of our master's programs and you have a first class undergraduate degree, then you're automatically eligible to a £3,000 merit scholarship. So you don't even have to apply for that. That will simply be applied to you once you apply. And then we're excited to say that this year, as in many previous years, we have some Commonwealth distance learning scholarships, and these cover the full fees for studying on the distance learning Masters in Gerontology or Masters Global Aging and Policy. If you live in a low or middle income Commonwealth country. So these are only available for distance learning and only in certain countries. And the closing date for those is quite soon, the 20th of May. There's details on our website, or you can just drop us a line if you need guidance to find the information. I'll give our email address in a minute. And next slide, Dalia, please. Just to say a little bit about the University of Southampton. So the University of Southampton is a world-leading university. We've recently ranked 80th in the global league table for universities worldwide, and we're ranked 14th in the UK. We have a very diverse community with students from all over the world. And the vast majority of our graduates are in employment or further study within a few months of leaving us here. In terms of Southampton itself, it's a lovely city. The climate is good. We're right on the south coast of the UK, and you can quickly escape by train to London. It's about an hour and a half to London, but you can also get to the New Forest, which is a very beautiful national park. There's good student accommodation and plenty of opportunities for shopping and so on. So it's a very livable city, and has a nice size to kind of get familiar with, but is in easy reach of London if you want to escape to the big city. Okay. So we'd love to hear your questions about any aspects of what we've talked about today, or anything that we haven't mentioned but you would like to ask us about. So please put your questions in the chat now. We've got another 15 minutes to answer questions, but I've also put there our email address. So it's simply aging@soton.ac.uk. Drop us an email with any question you have, and we will try and get back to you as soon as possible. So yeah, thank you, and please post your questions in the chat now.
Question about the difference between the Masters in Gerontology and the Masters in Global Aging and Policy. Rose, would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes, so they're both can be taken as distance learning programs. The Masters in Global Aging and Policy has two distinctive modules that you can't take in the other program. So in the Masters in Global Aging and Policy, we have Global Perspectives in Gerontology, which takes more of an international focus to the introduction to gerontology. And then there's a module called Policy Evaluation for Aging Societies, which is a really practical module that teaches you how to look at policies that are created by governments or local organizations, and really understand and analyze them and look at the strengths and weaknesses. And you're then also trained to write a policy brief, which would be to take a project or some kind of finding or an intervention and write up a recommendation for policymakers to pay attention to your work. So there's some really specific skills in the Global Aging and Policy program that you don't get in the Masters in Gerontology. A lot of the optional modules are shared between them, though, so you can still take the same options in both of them. So hopefully that's answered that question.
Yeah, there is another one question, Rose, about whether the distance education degree will mention the distance education on it, and whether distance education students receive study skill support.
Yes, so we make every effort to make sure distance learning students get the same training and support as our face-to-face students. So we provide study skills to the distance learning students via our online virtual environment, which is called Blackboard. So we'll have recorded sessions of the study skills that students can listen to, and then activities that they can carry out and then engage with us to get feedback. So it's as equivalent as possible. See some others. I believe the degree certificate does mention distance, but if that's not correct, somebody else can correct me. But as I say, the programs are equivalent. The Masters in Gerontology in Southampton and the Masters in Gerontology distance learning, it's the same modules, it's the same lectures, it's the same assignments, it's assessed by the same external examiner. So it really is absolutely equivalent in terms of quality of degree.
Oh, yeah, I now, sorry, before I couldn't see the chat with the questions, but now I can see another one here. Can one apply for the Commonwealth Distance Learning Scholarship, and can one start applying from now? Yes, so the Commonwealth Distance Learning Scholarships are live at the moment, so you would need to kind of, and it's a two-pronged approach. So you both have to apply to the University of Southampton for the program. So you apply to us and get accepted by the university, and at the same time you also then submit an application to the Commonwealth Scholarship Scheme, and the deadline for that is the 20th of May. So in terms of sharing the chat, why don't you send me or send us a quick email at the aging@soton.ac.uk email address, and we will then share the correct links for you to find out more information.
I can see a question asking, is the integrated PhD distance or both? The integrated PhD is entirely on campus, so that's Southampton based. So the distance learning PhD is only the research component, not the integrated. But you could do a master's in gerontology distance learning and then later apply for the PhD distance learning if you wanted to do both. Okay, I see a question about attendance frequency in part-time. So if you were on campus, you would be expected to study on average 15 to 20 hours per week in part-time. You would have 2 modules per semester rather than 4 modules per semester. And they are typically 2 hours a week per module. But the timetable isn't fixed, so I can't tell you exactly when those lectures will be. You may have some extra hours depending on the modules you pick. So if you took, say, a quantitative methods module that had lecture, seminar, and a computer workshop, you might have more hours than if you took a different module that only had 1 lecture a week. So that it does depend on choice there. Somebody's asked if their work experience will compensate if they don't have a 2-1, and I think Elizabeth said sometimes we can consider equivalent work experience, but you would need to write in to us to let us know.
Yeah.
Okay, is it possible to do the Masters in Global Aging and Policy after completing the Masters in Gerontology? Interested in taking both programs before applying to a PhD? Well, technically you could. If you already have our masters, you may wish to choose just the extra modules as standalone modules that you didn't take during the Masters in Gerontology. So the modules in global aging that are not available in the Masters in Gerontology, you can study them one by one, and then you can add up the skills if you wish to do it like that.
Yeah. I mean, what we haven't talked about today is that we offer all of our modules also as so-called short courses, or under the kind of umbrella of continuing professional development, CPD. So then you just sort of pay a fee for the individual modules that you take, and if you complete, so you can either just listen to the lectures, or you can actually complete the assignment, in which case you will get credit for the modules that you do. And then maybe after doing 2 or 3 of those modules, you might decide, oh, now I'm hooked, I want to do the masters, or and then what you've already done will count towards you, so you won't have to do that again. You can sort of carry your credit over into the master's program. There's a question here about the IELTS and it being expired, and that your program is in English. So I would say that again, drop us a line, and then we can look into whether that would be acceptable in terms of the English language skills. PhD scholarships or funding, so we typically have PhD scholarships that are available for application sort of in the autumn, usually with a closing date in January, if I'm not mistaken. They are extremely competitive, so PhD funding is difficult to come by, and one would certainly look at what your background is, so whether you've got enough specialist knowledge already at the master's level before going on to the PhD. But if you look at on our PhD, so if you find the gerontology department website, and then you've got links there to go to our different courses, and the PhD course page will tell you more about scholarships and funding for that. I don't think that simply an English proficiency letter would do, but sometimes there are specific countries that are on a list that I don't know which countries are on there, where it's kind of understood that all of the teaching is in English and therefore that's enough. But you would, again, you would have to actually write to us, and we would then pass that information on to the admissions team. So there's a large team of experts that deal with admissions inquiries for the university. So we would pass your inquiry on to them for information. What else? Yeah, so about the IELTS, I can't answer that for sure. So full funding, yes, there are some scholarships that offer full funding for PhDs, but like I said, they are very competitive, and they usually open in the autumn for the following year. For the Commonwealth Distance Learning Scholarship, please check what it says on the Commonwealth application page. It is my understanding that you need to have already have applied and I think received an offer. Roz is nodding. You have to have applied and received an offer at the point by the 20th of May when you apply for the scholarship. I put the link there about where's more information about the scholarships. We don't currently have Commonwealth scholarships for PhD studies. So sometimes your country of origin might have scholarships that will allow you to study in the UK. Sometimes the British Council or something like that has it. Can I share the email here? Yes, I'll do that in a second. So we don't currently have scholarships for the PhD, the distance learning PhD program. But because it's exactly equivalent to our face-to-face PhD program, so you should be able, if you manage to secure funding for the normal PhD program, it should also be eligible for the distance learning program. But we don't currently have any specific PhD scholarships that are open for application. Yes, if you already have a master's degree, you're still eligible to apply for the Masters in Global Aging and Policy. So yes, because often people use a master's program in order to kind of change from one area of expertise to another, or to get more advanced expertise in a particular area. So it's not at all uncommon for us to have a student who's already got a master's but doing another master's with us. Can one apply for? So I would say for this year probably it's too late to apply and be eligible for a PhD scholarship. But what you could do is email us again with your some broad ideas about your PhD program, and also what background you already have, and that will be able to kind of give us an idea of whether you would have any chances at all of going straight onto a PhD program, or whether we would recommend that you first do a master's program or do the integrated PhD program. Which again, there are scholarships for the integrated PhD program, but these will open again in the autumn for a start in 2026. So you've already done the masters from Southampton. Do you need the English? Hi Arthur. I don't know the answer to that. So again, it's something where you'd have to pop it in an email as a question. So presumably that would be in order to do a PhD with us. I don't know the answer about whether you could, just because you've done the masters with us a few years ago, whether you'd still need a fresh English test or not. I don't know the answer to that, but we can find out for you. Great. Have I missed any questions? So thanks, Roz, for putting some links in there also about the English eligibility. PhD program with scholarship. But like I said, the applications will open again. I mean, I suppose you can apply already now for a PhD next year, but in order to apply for a scholarship, the scholarship opportunities tend to be advertised from about October onwards. So I would maybe put a diary reminder to kind of look again on our website, or send us an email in about September, October, about PhD scholarships becoming available again. Roz and Dalia, do you have any other ideas about the PhD scholarship question, because that's come up a few times?
I've posted a link I've written funding a doctoral program and added the link.
Yeah.
This is the university's page on how to fund a PhD, and it's all sorts of different resources, government, funding bodies, charities, different countries. So there's lots of guidance there on what to look at.
Yeah. Okay, any more questions? Yeah, so the English, so the main questions are around the English. So I would say have a look at what it says on the link that Roz posted. But sometimes they also give advice on a case-by-case basis. So if you send us the question, we can pass it on to the person who can absolutely answer it reliably. Great. Okay. Thank you, Arthur. We loved having you with us a few years ago, so thank you very much. And yeah, thank you very much for joining. Tell other people about our programs if you think they might be interested. And we look forward to hearing from you by email. And thank you very much. We'll close today's event now. Thank you. Bye.